Hi, I'm Rem Wigmore, and I'll be reading from my solar punk novel Foxhunt. Now, Foxhunt's just recently been released from Queen of Swords Press. I'm very excited about it. It's a climate fiction novel set in the far future in a greener, more hopeful world, uh, and the costs of that world. It's about a singer who falls afoul of bounty hunters and has to figure out why. Now, I'll be reading from quite early on in the book. I keep on trying to find places later that will make for good readings, but there's too many plot twists and turns and spoilers. So here's a part from my favorite bit in the start of the first chapter. Now, in this scene, Orpheus is in the middle of a really bad date that's not going well with a married woman and leaves to get her flowers. Orpheus wandered down the path, brushing her fingers against stems. Though most of the flowers were closed at the approach of night, the buds were still pretty. No daisies, but Orpheus smiled as she came across a patch of willow herb, sprays of small purple flowers among the dark-leaved stems. Not a perfect match for Prim's lipstick, but close. Orpheus picked a careful handful, a few from each plant. She straightened, flowers gathered in her hand, and the sky fell upon her head. A heavy weight slammed into her back, shoving her into the ground. Orpheus inhaled dirt and twisted reflexively, kicking out and away. The heavy form pushing her down moved back, up and off her. In the moment's respite, Orpheus pulled herself back with her hands, scooting on the ground like a worm. She stared up at her attacker. A looming shadow, an inescapable monument. They weren't tall, but seemed tall from down here, and slab-solid with muscle. Some kind of helmet or mask on their head gleamed silver in the moonlight. "You jumped me," Orpheus said a little numbly. She tasted blood in her mouth as well as dirt. "Why?" They had leaped down from the roof, she judged, yet stood unfazed and unflinching. They said, "I am a hunter of the Order of the Wild, and you are my prey." Their voice was medium low, low for a woman or average for a man, hard to tell. No time to ask pronouns in the middle of a fight. If they were who they said they were, it would be no fight at all. "What?" Orpheus said. "No!" The masked figure advanced on her, armored in tough fabrics under a dark cloak. That mask, the snarling visage of some animal, hooked down over their eyes. Claws on one hand, jutting out and gleaming. No, impossible. The hunter didn't care that they were impossible and lunged forward, claws whistling through the air. Orpheus rolled sideways in the dirt with the taste of panic in her mouth, and the claws sliced down inches from her. She got her hands beneath her and shoved herself finally to her feet, diving forward just in time to avoid another slash. She staggered back, panting. It had been a slow movement, like the hunter was barely trying. They were bulky and enigmatic as a nightmare, her doom come walking, but she couldn't think of what she might have done to deserve it. "Give your speech again," Orpheus blurted. She gripped tight to what little of the stories she knew, as though folklore was fact. "You have to." The hunter stood still, more out of confusion than compliance. She couldn't make out their eyes under the helm, but Orpheus knew when someone was frowning at her. The hunter said, "I already did," in a low, exasperated growl. Everyone this evening was exasperated at her, from old flames right up to hired killers. Perhaps Prim's husband Balin was the client? But Balin didn't have the nerve to commission the order, and adultery wasn't enough of an offense, not like energy crimes. "But you have to make sure I understand it," Orpheus said. "Right? Maybe common isn't my first language. Maybe I'm fluent mostly in French or English or Arabic. Maybe I only speak sign." The hunter just sneered at that, like Orpheus wasn't worth wasting words on. Orpheus signed, "I don't understand," in the French dialect, then flipped them off defiantly. So her mother Basma's sign lessons had some use, despite Orpheus's protests as a child. The hunter clenched their fist, claws gleaming, visibly frustrated. But they stood still and straight and spoke. "I am a representative of the Order of the Vengeful Wild," they said. "We are the fangs and claws of justice. We go where we are needed. We are the shadows cast by the world. I will bring my prey down or die in the attempt." She got a glimpse of their eyes then, a gleam deep in the shadows of the snarling mask. I will bring my prey down. So I hope you enjoyed the reading. Foxhunt can be bought at the Queen of Swords Press website from some indie booksellers and in ebook form from a variety of retailers. I hope you have a great day.